Morning, all. All right, so we have 7 games tonight in the National Hockey League. It's a busy Monday. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, things get started. Now, I've got the 3 games at 7, 2 at 8, 1 at 9:30, 1 at 10. And I decided today I'm going to stop putting the time in every single game because I don't really need to. So it's 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Philadelphia and Boston. The Philadelphia Flyers 17, 14, and 5, and they've lost all 5 games against Boston, who are 19, 10, and 5. So Boston may be very glad to see Philadelphia, but Jaro Halak has been added to the protocol list, and here we go. So Vladar should be starting tonight. He's 2-1 with a 929 save percentage in the games he's been in. Carter Hart may very well be the starter, 8-9-4, 871 save percentage. That save percentage, as bad as it is, it's actually up over where it was before his last start. And then I did goal-scoring leaders today. So the goal-scoring leader on Philadelphia is Farabee, 14 goals, 13 assists, 27 points. On the Boston side, no surprise, it's Pastrnak, 16 goals, 14 assists, 30 points for him, as he continues to be the best goal scorer in Boston, even though he had been cold over, 6, 7 games, maybe 8 games before he got a couple in the last game. So we'll see if he's heated up, and we'll see if Philadelphia is that elixir that Boston needs to get them off this mediocre run they've been on. Okay, and the Oilers are in against the Montreal Canadiens. The Oilers 23-14-1, Montreal 16-9-9, and since coming back from their unscheduled break, they're 2-1. Montreal's won 3 out of 4 between themselves and Edmonton. If they can keep that up, they make it. And they're going to make it, and it'll be interesting to see how things go. So for the Oilers, they've, of course, got their eyes set on finishing first in the North. They've got Smith as their starter. He's 13-3-1 with a 919 save percentage. On the Montreal side, Carey Price 11-6-5, 902 save percentage. And I would not be surprised if it's Allen tonight. This isn't a statement on who's starting. It's just looking at the goalies. It's kind of fun to look at the goalies once in a while. Price's numbers are well below where you think they would be. I would be really interested to see if at some point in time they did manage to trade Carey Price. And I only say that because I'd be interested to see if he went to another team like, say, a Carolina or a Tampa or something along those lines. I'm not saying them as examples, but I guess as examples, just theoretical. If his numbers would be better than they are in Montreal, because that's been the statement, right? That it's the defense in front of him. It'd be really interesting to see if his numbers would actually start coming up somewhere else. The Islanders don't count. Obviously, with the Islanders, they go through the roof, because that's what happens with goalies when they go to the Islanders. Connor McDavid's the leading goal scorer in Edmonton. I know that's a shocker. 22 goals, 42 assists, 64 points. Brendan Gallagher, 14 goals, 9 assists, 23 points. He's the leading goal scorer for Montreal, and he's kind of their heart and soul forward. Also starting at the same time, Ottawa and Winnipeg. Winnipeg's won 4 out of 5 between themselves and the Ottawa Senators so far this year. Matt Murray is close to returning for Ottawa. He's 7-12-1 with an 880 save percentage. When he comes back, it'll be interesting to see which goalies stick around, which goalies don't, and what decisions they make at the deadline regarding their goaltending situation, and if they decide to move somebody. Hellebuck, 17-10-3 with a 920 save percentage. He is going to be in the running for the Vezina if he does manage to get Winnipeg into, I'll say, like second place. If they finish third, maybe, but if they get second or first, may get more attention that way. On the Ottawa side for leading goal scorer, both Tkachuk and Batherson have 12 goals and 11 assists, so that works nicely for the board. On the Winnipeg side, Connor, 17 goals, 19 assists for 36 points. He's been very solid, very dangerous. This season's been all about Connor and Ehlers. I think part of that is the exit of Laine. Now, there's opportunities that might have been given to Laine that these guys may be getting now, and they're taking advantage. Then at 8 o'clock Eastern, we get into another 2 games here. So that's 5 o'clock Pacific. The Vegas Golden Knights, 24-10-2, in against the desperate St. Louis Blues, who are 16-15-6. And again, they're now 3 points behind Arizona. Arizona's playing tonight. They're in LA, and St. Louis is home against Vegas. This is where the difficulty comes in. Most of the remaining games for Arizona are against the teams that are beneath them. Most of the games St. Louis has left are against the teams above them. They need to defy gravity here and start, punching upward and knocking off some teams ahead of them. Marc-Andre Fleury in this matchup where Vegas has won 3 out of 4 games against St. Louis. Fleury's 17-9 with a 924 save percentage this year. The save percentage has come down to something more reasonable. His save percentage was ridiculous early this year. Binnington 10-11-5, 904 save percentage. And see, he signs that extension, and immediately I start seeing comments about he's not worth his contract and he's not that good and all this. And that's what happens when you get that big contract. Pacioretty, 18 goals, 15 assists, 33 points. He's 2 goals away from 300. He's been sitting on that for a while, long enough that announcers have been saying it enough that it's stuck in my brain. Perron, 13 goals, 24 assists, 37 points. He's not the only player with 13 goals on the team, but he is the only player who also has 24 assists, 37 points, so he's the leading scorer, as well as being tied for the lead in goals, and Perron quietly leading that team. Same time as that game gets started, Colorado's playing Minnesota. So if you're a fan in the West, you're a fan in the North, you got a lot of hockey to watch tonight. 25-8-4 for the very impressive Colorado Avalanche. And I'm wearing Minnesota because they're at home. They're 23-11-2. They're coming off of back-to-back wins against Vegas. And now they get to show that they're legit by going up against Colorado, who have won 4 out of 6 in this season series with the Minnesota Wild. Grubauer, 23-7-1 with a 929 save percentage. All of his numbers are ridiculous. And yeah, right now he is in the conversation for the Vezina. And he blew up as soon as I did that video on who are the Vezina contenders. So it's always fun to do those videos. It's fun to do them more than once. Do one around the halfway mark and then do one at the end of the year. Talbot, 11-5-2, 928 save percentage. He's having the best season he's had, I'll say, since he was a Ranger. Because, again, I always go back to that year when he was with the Rangers. Lundqvist gets hurt, and you're like, well, they're done. And Talbot was great. So this is kind of how Talbot's been playing this year as well. He and Kakkonen have been giving them the kind of goaltending they just didn't have last year. And I think Talbot's been better this year than he was either in Edmonton, especially towards the end of the time in Edmonton, as well as in Calgary. And again, keeping in mind, I do have a Talbot Oilers jersey because I liked him in Edmonton, especially that first year. Rantanen, 21 goals, 22 assists, 43 points. He leads Colorado in goal scoring. Kaprizov, 14 goals, 17 assists, 31 points. No surprise, he leads Minnesota in goal scoring, as well as in excitement, bringing fans to their feet, all of these other wonderful things. That needs to be an advanced stat too, bringing fans to their feet. And that needs to be a stat that we have like pie charts of too. Feet bringing is what, yeah, we brought them to their feet. You know, the brought them to their feet stat. BTF. All right. So then an hour and a half, after that, at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Toronto in against Calgary. And I think it's interesting that, you know, Toronto fans yesterday, when the Calgary game started at 6 o'clock my time, were saying that, you know, it's late. Why are why this game's starting late? Right. And it's kind of the opposite effect to how Sunday started for me yesterday, where they have a game at 9 in the morning, and it's like, all right, but I'm up till like midnight getting the power rankings done. Now there's a game at 9 a.m. and yeah, some of the scheduling's interesting. So one thing though for Toronto fans, they're definitely going to have more late games this year than normal because of the amount of games out west, right? And because they're trying to keep the scheduling so it's fair to all the teams. So there's been some really weird scheduling of games on both coasts. 25-10-3 now is the record for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They made it worth staying up to watch them last night. They're going to try to do it again, especially since the game's a half an hour later than last night's. So 16-20-3 is the record for Calgary. They're kind of done. Toronto's won 5 out of 7. They're looking to take Calgary out. On the Toronto side, Campbell continues to be quite the story. He's 8-0 with a 951 save percentage. He's supposed to go tonight. He's had a pretty good run this year, 8 wins in a row. Markstrom, 12-13-2 with a 901 save percentage. It's interesting, when I was making up this video, I looked at Talbot and Markstrom, and I thought, you know, these two are the ultimate example of how unpredictable goaltenders are. That at the start of the year, we would look at those two and say, well, yeah, but Calgary with Markstrom as a better goaltender than Talbot in Minnesota. Talbot's okay, right? And yet Talbot's numbers are better than Markstrom. And then the fact that Talbot comes over from Calgary, it's so weird how all this turned out. And now I'm already seeing people complaining about Markstrom's contract in Calgary. So it doesn't take very long to go from, yeah, we got our guy, to, well, that doesn't work. How many years does he have? So Matthews is the leading goal scorer in Toronto. I know that's a shocker. 25 goals, 19 assists, 44 points. Despite slowing down, despite, having wrist problems, he's still on pace for 50 goals if we had an 80-game season. Johnny Gaudreau, stuck on 13 goals, 14 assists, 27 points. He's still the leading goal scorer for Calgary, and there's a lot of issues right now with the Flames, and it feels like we're a week away from just a lot of disappointment. I really don't think this trade deadline is going to do much. I really don't. I know it's a week from today, but normally we've already got a bunch of trades we're talking about by now. This has been just so quiet, and I don't know that that's going to change. I think this year is a 56-game tournament. It's something unique, and then at the end of the season, the GMs will be like, let's not speak of that year anymore. We got through it. We just won't talk about it again. Then a half an hour after that one gets started at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, we've got Arizona in against LA. So the Coyotes will be keeping an eye on what's going on with St. Louis. That game's starting 2 hours before theirs. There's the possibility that they're going to be 5 points clear of St. Louis if the Blues lose to Vegas, and if they take care of what they need to in LA. LA's won 2 out of 3 against Arizona this year. For LA, they're 14, 16, and 6. Hanging on by a thread in this. Arizona's 18, 15, and 5. And yeah, they can really put themselves in the driver's seat with the combination of them getting a win and a regulation loss for St. Louis. They can start getting that daylight that you want to see. Aiden Hill, 6-4-1, 909 save percentage. He's been impressive, and especially considering the circumstances where his backup is Prosvetov because both Ranta and Kemper are both out. So, there's a lot of young goaltenders that have had to step up this year due to a lot of goaltenders getting hurt. Peterson, 7-8-4 for the Kings, 926 save percentage. Great goaltending has been provided to the Kings so far this year. It's just been a matter of, the team's still going through this rebuild, but there's the potential for things to get a lot better next year. Phil Kessel, 15 goals, 13 assists for him. He's still the leading goal scorer for Arizona. It's been hot and cold. He's on a hot streak right now. And Brown is still the leading goal scorer for the Kings at 15 goals, 7 assists. And they could use a couple from Dustin Brown tonight and see if they can turn their fortunes around. But there you go. You guys are all set for tonight. Let me know your winners in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.